Welcome to Attican Plays Railway Empire. All right, hi, this is Attican and welcome to another Railway Empire video in our Back to Basics series. We're going to take the things that we learned in the first video of this series called Building Your Empire, and we're going to apply those things to a campaign mission. We're going to do the first campaign mission, which is the most basic tutorial in the game. Now, in order to do this, follow what they want, what I'm going to have to do is do precisely what I'm instructed to do. Then I'm going to go back and adapt it to the way I would play the game and suggest that you play the game in order to position yourself to be a better player going down the road. So let's get in here. We're in 1863 in the Great Plains. These missions are actually very cool. I like the cutscenes. I even like the cartoony nature of the cutscenes. I like the way they did it. I wish the campaign was actually more extensive, but it's very nice. We're going to start in Omaha at 650,000. Yeah, that's about it. We don't have any competitors yet.
Tables, figures, and hard facts.
So we only have one choice of character, the industrialist. I'm not going to get into the characters yet. That's going to come in a different video, in a different basics video. And most of you have seen a lot of my videos. You know all this stuff. And I'm going to skip the cutscene, even though I actually like it. This isn't about the
Thomas Clark Durant,
mission. This is about what we learned.
The head of Union Pacific. We will go down in history as the ones who created the Transcontinental Railroad. And that, my friend, is your job as chief engineer. I can't supervise everything here on site right now, as I have to meet with some politicians in Washington. First, you should familiarize yourself with the basic controls. Move the camera in all directions. Now, test the camera's zoom function. You can also rotate the camera. Give it a try. Very good. Now you know the basic controls. Your first task is to create a rail connection between Omaha and Norfolk to the northwest. Both cities will need a station for this. You already have a station in Omaha, but you still need to build one in Norfolk. To do this, switch to building construction mode. Very good. Now the two stations need to be connected with tracks. To do this, switch to track construction mode. Now plan the tracks between the stations in Norfolk and Omaha. To do this, select the two station tracks one after the other. Then pay for your track planning. Now create your first train so that you can set up a rail line between your stations. Initially, your train only exists on paper. It's not much use to you without a locomotive. Very good. Now you can see the journey your train will take. If there is something to transport, the train will automatically take it.
Now, what I'm going to have to do is, like I said, do exactly what he says to do.
However,
and then I'm going to make changes.
Water, sand, and lubricant on its journey, you have to place a supply tower along the route. Very good. Your train is now traveling between Omaha and Norfolk. But you can do even more. Each city needs goods from the surrounding area. For example, every city needs corn. Look, there is a corn farm near Omaha. Until now, the corn has made it to the city in the conventional way, but we want to change that. Now construct a rural train station in the marked location with a corn farm within its radius. Now connect the new rural train station to the station in Omaha. And now things are getting tricky as we have to deal with a logistical problem. As Norfolk should also enjoy fresh corn, there will soon be two trains traveling on the stretch of track between Omaha and Norfolk. Of course, this will then result in a conflict. Since trains cannot travel through each other, you'll need a side track between Omaha and Norfolk. This consists of one parallel track and two signals. First, create a side track. It needs to be at least long enough for a fully loaded train. Excellent. However, your trains won't necessarily use the sidetrack, as they generally always take the shortest route. For this reason, you also have to specify the direction of travel on each parallel track. Now open building construction mode and set up a signal in the highlighted area pointing in the direction of the switch. Trains will then be able to stop here when the single track is in use. Excellent. Now do the same on the parallel track so that each parallel track has a different direction. Place a second signal in the highlighted area and block the track to trains coming from the opposite direction.
Thought I did that. They're still pointing here. I'm going to take that out, put it back in. There we go.
I'm sure that
They just
wasn't
didn't
at all
recognize what I did.
You will soon come to realize that signals are an important aid in guaranteeing smooth rail operations. You will find more information and tips under Hints and Tips.
Okay, well, it's paused. So
Now assemble a
Yeah.
new train and give it a
Take that
locomotive
back.
and a rail line. Your new rail line should run via Omaha to Norfolk so that the people of Norfolk can be supplied with corn.
I think they want us to just do this. They want us to go directly like that. So we'll set it up to run full, and we'll actually have it come back here. Why not? And carry some people.
Excellent. The corn farm will automatically make use of your train because the cities along your rail line are demanding corn. Conventional transportation is much more costly for the farm. We're still missing something. Locomotives wear out over time and need to be regularly maintained so they can perform their duties more reliably. For this purpose, there needs to be at least one maintenance building on each rail line where locomotives can be serviced if necessary.
Okay.
Construct such a maintenance building at your station in Omaha now. To do this, select the station itself and expand the station with this building.
Okay, so here's a good chance to tell you a few things about why this is a poor setup. One is, did you notice the corn was sitting here waiting? Why was it waiting? Because this train needed to get way up there and clear a signal before this train could even move. So this is why, one of the reasons I double track, one of the reasons I don't do this kind of silliness where you drive this train through here. I don't do any of that stuff. So what we're going to do here, before we put in the maintenance building and he decides we need to move on, we're going to clean up our act a little bit. The first thing we're going to do is run. Well, I think. Well, there's very little traffic, so we'll just go ahead and use this one for now. But we're going to double track this into this station. So to lay track, to review, we've got our two endpoints. We lay our track. We check to make sure there's junctions on each end. There are. We do our signals. Control Shift, spin it around to point in the right direction. We look at our supply tower situation, and I'm going to put one on this line as well. And then we go over here to this one, and this sidetrack. Lovely to know, and a lot of people like sidetracks, and I don't. So we're going to double up this track. Like so. And so what did we just do there? We laid track. We've got our junctions. Let's set our signals. And it's important to note here, when you have an existing tower like that, it actually defines a section of track. So you have to make sure you get both sides of the tower, so to speak, with your signals to make sure you have signals set all the way down the line in both directions. So now we've got double track. Now the other thing is you don't run one train And yeah, that train had to reset because I set the signals. It was going against the grain. We don't run one train between cities. If cities are worth connecting, you double track and you run trains and make money. Now this guy here is on his way to Norfolk. All right. We don't run. You also don't run through cities with your trains. So what you do instead is, if we wanted to run this like this, we would actually build a bypass. We would build a line like this. We will connect off of this. We'll come like this and bypass the city like so. We'll go over here and commit that. Then we'll make the parallel track so it's double tracked. Click the cone, anchor it, go up here, click the cone on the other side. And then we'll put our signals in for that. And again, same process. We build our track. We've got our junctions on each end. We set our signals, and we look at our supply towers, and we don't really need any for the bypass. We've got one here. We've got one here. So it's all good, right? So now what will happen is this train right here, if we look at its route, see, it's going to take, what's it going to do? Well, we would take Omaha out of the equation now. We would say, okay, you're a train that's taking corn to Norfolk. Now, if we wanted to, of course, we could also have it on the return trip. We could throw Omaha back in there and say, okay, when you go, take the bypass and go over to Norfolk and drop off the corn. But then in order to keep you from deadheading all the way back, you could pick up something here in Norfolk and bring it back to Omaha and then go get your next load of corn. So that would work. All right, so that bypass can be used for every other thing we do. Now, what do they want us to do? Oh, maintenance shed. Are we caught up? Okay, this is closer to a line. This is closer to something that works, even though I would, yeah. There's still things I would do differently. But let's give him a maintenance shed and make him happy.
We've been lollygagging for long enough. I need to return to Washington for further miserable negotiations with our representatives of the people. I've written a task list for you. Take a look at it and complete the tasks within the given time period. Do not disappoint me.
Okay, this is cool. Now we actually have tasks to do. Omaha, North Platte, Omaha, Cheyenne, cattle and meat, 150,000 people, grow Cheyenne, connect Omaha and Rock Springs, transport passengers Cheyenne to Rock Springs nonstop. So let's look at this. North Platte's here. Where's Cheyenne? Down, where is Cheyenne? Oh, over here. What was the north task? Omaha and Cheyenne. Cheyenne to Rock Springs. Where's Rock Springs? Ah. Which one is Rock Springs? Well, I'll go to, can't find it. Where is, take me to Rock Springs. Oh, okay. You can see it's been a while since I played this. So they want Cheyenne to Rock Springs, basically just a direct line. That's all it takes. Okay. So now, let's take a moment here. Stop this. Should we get into it a little bit? Well, I'll give you a preview of kind of future basics and stuff I've talked about in other videos. We need to think about building a little economic engine. If we're going to make this work and not just blindly do what the tasks say because we don't know how to play the game, right? Now, if you're new and you're playing it, let's just follow this task list, do what they say. But if you kind of know what's going on a little bit, let's take advantage of that, and let's do some things that we would do to be successful in any of the scenarios going down the road. And the first one, the main one, the most important thing, first of all, the most important resource in this game, it's not wood or grain, it's not trains or track or anything like that. It's cities. The cities are the most important thing we can see here. because if you control the cities, you control the game. And if we had AI competitors, well, our goal would be get as many of those cities to be ours and not theirs. And that's why you'll see me often run. I'll put two small stations back to back in cities because I want those cities to be mine and no one else's. Right? No one else gets those cities. So, so what are we going to do here? What are we going to do? Let's let's just do a rapid expansion strategy. By golly, let's do it. It's the best strategy that I've come up with. I don't know if any of you have a better one. If you do, share it. But I'm telling you, this actually gets you humming. We've got beer, we've got meat, we've got beer, we've got a beer meat line, right? So we've got beer. Where's the next meat? I need meat. Where is a meat line? And it's not going to tell me. God bless it. How do I want to. Why aren't I seeing what these cities make? Oh, they don't have. Oh, there's meat way over there. There's nothing. Interesting. All right, let's do a variation of beer meat. We've got meat, we've got beer, and we've got nothing in North Platte, right? So we can't really afford to put an industry in there just yet, although although I'd certainly like to. Do we have financing? How much are they going to let? I don't think we do. How much are they going to let us? No, we don't have. I don't think so. We do. Okay, the first thing to learn about this game is debt is your friend. Go grab money anytime you can find it. It's one of the first things you need to know. All right, we're going to put a meat industry in North Platte. So, boom. We click that. We put in a meat industry. It's super cheap. And you know what? First, we're going to put in a train station in North Platte. Then we're going to put a meat industry in North Platte. Okay. Then we're going to run a beer meat line between Norfolk. I'm going to put in a small train station back to back. And connect Norfolk and North Platte like so. All right, there's one side of the track.
Good. That's finished. You're making progress.
We double track it. Like so. We make sure there's junctions on each end. There are. We didn't create any merges, so there's no problem with short blocks. We put in our signals. And we look at that and we say, okay, where do we want to put supply towers? We could put one right in the middle, but I'm seeing some stuff coming like so. So I want to put one kind of close to this end, right over top of signals. And I want to put one up at this end, kind of for the same purpose. All right, and then if two cities are worth connecting, it's worth running trains. So we're going to put a line going that way, and we'll set up a line going back the other way, like so. And then we will click on this, which will show us the two trains that are running on that track. And then we're going to copy the one going one direction and copy the one going the other direction. Now we have 4 trains running between North Platte and Norfolk. Now, in a rapid expansion strategy, what do we do next? We take meat and we look for beer. Another beer. Where is beer? There's not much beer out here anywhere. I tell you what would be a great place to have beer would be Cheyenne. If Cheyenne had beer, and look right there is meat, and so we could do meat to beer and beer to meat, and that would, that's beautiful. And we've got wheat right up here, or grain right up here, lovely. So we're going to put a train station in Cheyenne, and we're going to link it up with our meet in North Platte and run it around that mess. And and this is another one. I didn't go into this when I was showing you the track laying, but for the basics. But if you notice how I can plan this out and I can move it around and say, okay, don't go in that mess right there. Go around this business right here. And then we could even straighten this out a little bit, make it a more of a straight line shot like that. And I'm going to shift and left click and take that out and then just scoot it back over now that I know where that point's going to be. And that gives us about as straight a shot as we can get. So we will accept that. And they just gave us a bonus for, they're helping us out because it's a tutorial.
Nerves. But now let's get back to your tasks. As you can see, Cheyenne is still a little town hoping for an upswing caused by the railroad connection, but a city will only attract new inhabitants if it is supplied with enough goods. Cities receive basic goods from the surrounding area. If you construct stations in the right places and establish rail lines, your trains will be used to transport goods and you will make profits for transportation. But for this, you have to know what goods a city actually needs. You can find out any city's current needs. Now select Cheyenne and view the city's demand for goods.
Okay, well, I was talking, I set up a line right there. You can see me do it. It's just like the others I did. Now we can go look at the goods. As we've seen before, you can go here and see the goods.
Only a handful of goods, and you can only.
And they want grain and wood to grow.
As the city grows, it will demand further goods. At the moment, you can supply grain and wood. Both of these goods are available to the north of Cheyenne.
Okay, that is true, but
Cheyenne to a
right
timber
now,
business and a wheat farm, and establish a new rail line that connects them both to Cheyenne.
we're going to do something slightly different from his instructions because we want to establish our next beer meat line. And I'll explain why in just a minute. So we're going to go down here to Denver and go up here to Cheyenne, like so. And notice how we get this bridge. Anytime you're building track, you want to eliminate bridges and tunnels as much as you can. If you have a little bit of earthworks, they are cheaper than tunnels or bridges. So it's much better to have that than to have a bridge in the middle or something like that. So that looks pretty good. We'll click that, and we'll go up here, go up to Cheyenne, make our double track, because we had our junctions. We built our track. We didn't have any merges, so we don't have any short blocks to worry about. We're going to set our signals, and then we'll put a supply tower in the middle of it. And if two cities are worth connecting, what's the rule? It's worth running trains and making money. So that's a short line. I'm just going to fire them all off from the same end. So 2, 3, 4 trains. Okay, so now we have, what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 cities connected, and they're all beer meat lines. In fact, you know, they're kind of the way they're set up. You get beer from 2 directions, meat out, you know, the whole deal. So all these cities are really set up to grow right now. But what we want to do now, the first phase of a rapid expansion is to connect 4 or 5 cities together, beer meat, like this. Okay? Then the second phase is to go back and supply cattle to your meat industries and grain to your beer industries, so that they have that gives those cities one of the things they need to grow. It also gives those cities enough grain and or cattle so that they can continue to supply beer and meat to themselves and to any other cities they're connected to. So we're going to go, we'll start at this end. So we've got, look at this, we even get a connection bonus. So we're going to connect this cattle to Omaha. And the first thing we're going to do is just let this run for a few minutes and make us some money. So you can see, because we have a bunch of trains running, they're going to start coming in, even in these small stations. And that's a goof right there. I goofed up right there. I've got them all coming into that single station. It'll work just fine because the traffic's not that heavy, but there should be another station here, so much so that I'm going to fix that. That's sad. Shame on me. Back to back, second station. Whoops. I'll let these run and go in there, and then as soon as these two are out of the way, I'm going to take out this track and hook it in here. In fact, you know what? Since I've already got these set up, I'm going to go in here, expand this station, and we'll just cover another thing that we covered in the other one, in the basics is. Okay, now I'm going from a single platform to a double platform. What do? I want this side to connect to it, okay? I'll leave this side alone for now. So what we do is we delete the track right out here in front. We mark it, shift, left click, delete part of it, shift, left click, delete part of it. And now we're going to run our track in to each of the two. I goofed that up, didn't I? Let me delete that. That was a miss. I want it to come off that. That's not going to work. Let's try this side first. Now see if it'll go. Yeah, now it'll work. Okay, it was bumping into that little stub at first. All right, so we're going to connect that. Then we're going to use our little X junction to set up the junction on this end. Then we're going to set our signals. All right. Now we've got our signals set. We've got supply set. We've already got the trains running. So we can look at our utilization and see where they're going to. 25%, 84%. It's already kind of split them for us. It's not over 100, so we'll leave that like it is for now. Okay. All right, so where was it? Notice our money racking back up. Why is that? Well, because we've got trains running. We've got trains running and making us money. That's why. All right, so let's get our meat. Now, I've messed around and lost our bonus, but no biggie. All right, so we want to run this meat, this cattle, into our meat producer in Omaha. So my little bypass actually makes that a little more challenging, doesn't it? Yeah, kind of. Do we have warehouses in this? We do. We have warehouses. We could very easily put a. Let's just see if that would work. Can we put a warehouse over here? We can. All right. Let's just use a warehouse. No, I don't. No. You know what? I don't like that. I don't put cattle in warehouses typically. There are some scenarios specifically where you would do that, but I don't typically do that. I like to run it directly into the consuming city, if you will. So, I'll tell you what I don't like now. This is kind of bugging me. So we're going to get rid of that. We're going to expand this station because I want that track, and I want to. And this is another thing to learn. Don't be afraid to make a change. If you know, you get refunds on some of the stuff that you blow up, so don't be afraid to change this if you don't like exactly how it's coming out. So we're going to get rid of that bypass, make a nice straight line in here like so. Then we'll go back here and come in like so. And we'll get, now, I am, by the way, following my process. I'm just doing it quickly. I'm saying, okay, lay the track, make sure we've got junctions at both ends, set my signals, set my supplies, run my trains. So what we can do now is look at this in Omaha. Omaha needs meat. It only demands, or no, cattle, 3.6 a week, right? So keep that in mind, 3.6 a week. Now, if we set up a train line between here and here, and we say run full, remember how to do that? Hit the negative thing, and it goes rotates back to 8. We say run out of that track, run full, go over here, and I'll set freight only, even though it doesn't matter, and we'll go take off. Now we're going to look at it and say, okay, every 24 days it can bring 8 in there. That means that one train is plenty to keep that happy. So could I have run a single line there? Yes, I could have. That would have saved us some money. Yes, it would have. But as if this thing grows enough, we'll want to run extra trains. Honestly, I double track everything. Maybe it's just a bad habit. Maybe it's just being stubborn. I don't know, but it's what I do. Notice Cheyenne growing, even though we haven't done what they told us to do about this. Now, why is that? One thing is, look at that. It's getting those things over ground. It's getting, because they're close by, it's getting the logs, it's getting the grain by ground transportation. So it's working just fine. So where was I? What did I want to do? So we've got this. We want grain coming here. Right? We also want, let's do next things next. Grain to Norfolk. Right? So what we could do and here is look at our utilizations, 59%. We could run more in there, but we're not going to. We're going to expand. And we're going to run a line. And what I often do is just take the line out like this and run toward what I want. And then I'll just kind of say, okay, I know roughly where I'm going to put my station. I'll just stop it. And then I'll just get out of that and I'll go, okay, let's build our station. We're going to put a station right there. And then I'll take the line I started and just and you can reconnect it. It's just so nice how it just stays there kind of in memory and you can come back to it. So now we've got 2 places we want to connect. We build our track. We double track it. To there. And we wait for a little bit more money. All right, we make sure we have junctions on both ends. We do. We set our signals. And we check the supply tower situation, and we put in a supply tower. And then we set our line. We set it to run full and go to here. And then we look here and see how much are they wanting. They're wanting 1.2 a week. And this guy can run over there every 51 days. So here we might just give them a second train.
10 square miles of land.
Okay.
The politicians have
if you notice, we're actually getting our task done here. Okay. Almost by accident. So here goes, we've got that. Now we want meat going to North Platte, and we want meat going to Denver, right? So here's meat that's kind of centrally between them. So what we'll do here, we could either set up 1 train station or 2 small train stations. It's actually cheaper up front to do 2 small train stations. And many people ask me, well, don't you pay more money for your all the maintenance sheds later on? Look, we just got a breakdown. But the thing is, it's called time value of money. I want to save that money up front to get this thing going, to get this. See, we've got such a good economic engine now that we get money coming back quickly. So once you get your economic engine going, you can then put those maintenance sheds in later when it's less painful because you got money. You got money, you can do what you want, right? So let's see what we've got here. Oh, let's expand this station, and we'll give it maintenance. All right. Let's go down here and let's say, okay, we want to run out of here. We want to go over here to this guy. And now see, we got a breakdown. Is that awful? Well, it's not good, but it'll mend itself, so to speak, and we can as we go along, we can add maintenance stations in. But what I want to do is get this kind of rapid expansion set up first before I worry about repairing everything, right? So I want to put a train station in here, and then I'm going to run my line over like that. And run a line like this. Okay, so I've got a line now. Check to make sure I have junctions. I do not on this end. So I'll make my little X's like so. And I know I don't have it on this end either. So there we go. Now we have our junctions. Now we set our signals. And save a couple of dollars and put in a supply tower. And then we run our line. We go from here to here. Out of track 1, we're going to say, always full.
Excellent. Cheyenne is becoming a major railroad hub, and the credit is all ours.
And we can look at the demand here and say, okay, how much do you want? 3.6. How long does it take this train to get there? 55 days. We're going to have to give you another one. So we'll put a couple on that, and then we'll go over here. We can do the same thing to feed feed Denver. Notice Cheyenne grew again. It's getting stuffed by land, and we're giving it meat and beer. So it has beer, and then we're giving it meat. So we're taking good care of Cheyenne. So now we're going to go over here to Denver, and we're going to build a line like this that comes over here to our cattle. We want the straightest line we can get. That's always the most efficient one. And notice I'm spending the money as fast as I get it. That's another key thing. Don't sit on your money unless you have to save it for something. Spend your money as fast as you get it. So even if you have to have this kind of hurry up and wait mode that I tend to get into, because you want to make these investments as early as you can make them, because they start returning the money to you immediately, and you get your return on investment faster the faster you make the line. Of course you do. Okay, so we've laid our track, and I know I keep saying this, but the whole point of this video is to sort of reinforce what we've learned. So we've laid our track. We've made sure there's a junction on each end, and there isn't, because there isn't one on this end. And what would happen if I didn't put a junction here and tried to run cattle over to Denver, it'd go over there and it'd come back, but in order to go back to Denver again, it would have to go all the way up here to turn to North Platte to turn around. But by putting the junction in here, we take care of that, and it can run the way we want it to. So we've got our junctions on both ends. We set our signals. We didn't build a merge, so we don't have any short blocks. Wait again for hurry up and wait for a little bit of money. As soon as we get it, we put in a supply tower. Wait for a little bit of more money while we're setting up our rail line. Here we want to check and see, okay, we're already using one, so let's use track 2. Let's run full. Let's go to Denver. I should be making these freight. I always forget. And we will set that up, and then we'll see how long does it take. It takes 46 days, so we know we're going to need at least a couple. All right, so we'll run a couple of trains to Denver. Now, let's go ahead and do what they ask us to do. They want us to, what is it, connect, well, we just set that up to deliver the cattle. Look at that, we're almost at the 150,000. Omaha and Rock Springs, yeah, okay. So let's connect. Didn't they want us to connect these? I'm thinking that, oh yeah. He told us to do it up here. So what we can do here, let's just look at this. A small train station, no, a train station, nope, I'm not building a large train station. So we'll put a train station for each one. We'll go like that. We're going to open up another line for Cheyenne, and we're going to we'll give Cheyenne maintenance too. So we'll wait a few minutes.
Well done.
What do we do now?
Denver are impressed by the railroad.
Oh, the cattle to Denver. That was incredibly easy. All right, so now we're going to build a line like this. Let's see, we're going to be putting, I think we'll put both, we'll put the grain and the wood into this platform in Cheyenne. That'll work just fine. So I'm going to double track this section like so. So we've got junctions at both ends. We can set our signals. We can put in a supply tower. We can set up a line to run full down here. And I'm 24 days, that should work just fine. And then we'll go up here to this grain and we'll put a station in here. Then we'll take this line and merge it with this line. Okay, so we come down and we connect a merge kind of out away from the station a bit, this station, and we accept that. Then we grab our little cone, we go back, we anchor it on our line like this, go up here, anchor it, tie it off. We've got a junction at both ends, so we can set our signals. Okay. And then we can go here, and I hit shift that time, which opens up all of this. So if I wanted to change this, I can change it without having all this get messed up. So I can go here, I can go run full with grain, take it down here to Cheyenne.
Do you know that many people call the vast stretch of land between the Mississippi and California the Great American Desert? Those fools. Once my railroad has opened everything up, the value of these
Okay,
lands
so
will
now,
go through the roof.
now we've done that. We've done what he wanted us to
done.
do.
The city will soon grow. You can see how
It's
water
already
is being
grown. Now,
supplied
if
at
he would
any
get out of
time
our way,
with
we could
city
see what
dialogue.
we want to do. I think it's
Basically,
connect,
the city
yeah,
will
it's
grow
connect
once
Omaha
its
with
demands
Rock
are
Springs.
sufficiently
Well,
met.
now, that's worth
I think you
knowing.
have learned enough. Complete the rest of your tasks.
Okay, that's worth knowing.
But you certainly won't have any success with so little capital. I might have not planned on this being a loss-making business, but I'll help you out this one last time.
Why? We don't need help. We don't need your help. All right. So when it says connect Omaha and Rock Springs, we have to go all the way over here and build a line that runs from Omaha to Rock Springs. No, we don't. All we have to do is connect it to anything on our network, and they are considered connected. So keep that in mind when you're doing these things. So what we're going to do, we know we also have the task of passengers from Cheyenne to Rock Springs, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to expand the station again, and we're going to run a line that goes out like this and kind of goes through the mountains over here to Rock Springs. I'm going to go into my station, small train station, put it right here. I'm going to finish off my line like this. Look at it, make sure it looks reasonable, and it actually does. Let's see, can we get rid of that? I hit shift. Yeah, we don't need that one. Do we need this one? I think we probably do. No, we don't need that. Beautiful. All right, so
Now you've managed to cross the Great Plains. A masterpiece.
So now let's just double track this all the way out, like so. And we'll check for junctions on both ends. There's one on this end, but over here on this end, I used both tracks. I need to, but I just did it just so we could make sure we're checking. So we're going to build our little X here in the curve, which sometimes can be clumsy, but most of the time it works out. And then now we're free to set up our signals, drive on the right in both directions, look at our supply towers, and eyeballing this one says that might be a little bit long. Let's set a tower here and a tower here. And now, whoops, need some more money. There we go. So now this one we can do passenger mail only if we want to. So let's do. We'll set up a line, passenger mail only, from Cheyenne.
One more thing. Your company has also a research department to help you unlock new locomotives and other innovations. Open the research dialog to find out more about it.
Okay. From here to here, passenger mail only. And we will add a locomotive, and then we'll set one coming back the other way to get it going. Passenger mail only. Out of that same, end up in the same one in Cheyenne and go. And then we'll copy those in each direction. There we go. So now let's look at research.
Here you will find the advances that can be achieved in the current era. Advances from previous eras are usually already active, but what the future holds, we do not know.
Okay, increases.
For each advance, you require innovation points, which you get automatically each month, and which can be increased in various ways. Now, take a look around here, and then unlock an innovation of your choosing. How about a new locomotive? My opponents say I'm lining my own pockets. These are, of course, hideous lies. And look at it this way. With the profits I'm making, I can invest much more. Jobs, jobs, jobs.
We'll get into this in more detail.
I have to wrangle with a lot of competitors, but if one person really gets on my nerves, then it's that Beatrix von Pomp. What? You haven't encountered her yet? Be glad. She takes everyone to the cleaners.
Okay. Well, she is irritating, trust me. She's the reason I have the character sound turned off. She is extremely irritating. All right, what do we got to do to finish? Transport 100 passengers. We already got 46. So here's kind of what I would hope you would take away from this, other than that goof right there. Any of the scenarios, and this is obviously a super, super easy one, but any of the scenarios, you need an engine to make it work. So to get an engine, what you do is use some strategy to get your money flowing. In our case, we use rapid expansion to go beer meat, put in a meat, beer meat, beer, meat, or meat, beer actually, and beer, meat. So we had 5 cities connected. Then we made sure that they were getting cattle and grain as appropriate to allow them to grow. Now, you notice they're not growing anymore. What we can do now, of course, is go back. We got lots of money. We're making lots of money. We're doing very well now because we have an engine.
Progress is enormous.
And
the far west is no longer so far away anymore, and the people are slowly realizing that trade helps create prospering cities. We still have a long way to go, but the Transcontinental Railroad is coming.
okay, so again, what I was saying was you need that engine to get yourself started. Any puzzle game, any strategy game, shoot, even war games that require resources, you need an economic engine to build on and to allow you to move quickly to do this stuff so that you're not always scratching your head saying, well, I'm running a train between these two. Why aren't I making any money? Well, you're not making money because you're running one train and it's going to take you forever to get your investment back. So, rapid expansion strategy, you could apply it to, I don't know if I've played one yet where it doesn't work. I haven't. It's the best thing I've come up with. So hopefully that helped you kind of reinforce what we learned in the Back to Basics, how to build track and set up lines and all that stuff. And we also got a good chance to look ahead and say, okay, what's a strategy we can use to do well in our conquering these scenarios and these missions. We used rapid expansion. We followed that, and we also, another key concept to take from this is we watched our task list, but we weren't a slave to it. In other words, we made sure that we got our engine set as the highest priority, but then did all our tasks timely. You have to kind of balance that out to make sure you get where you need to go, but you've got to have that engine. Without that engine, you're dead in the water. All right, so hopefully that helped you kind of reinforce the basics of how to play the game. Notice we got a perfect score, which, that's not the world's greatest accomplishment for this particular scenario, but it is. We did just fine. We got a perfect score, and so hopefully you enjoyed that. That'll help you. And what I plan to do next is I'm going to think about maybe playing the second mission and then having a focus on it in certain basics that we need to do. I'll quit, telling you how to build track every time. I'll assume now that you know that, and we'll move ahead into other pieces like city growth. I want to get more into city growth and how to really get into that. And we'll see if the next, I'm going to look around and see if the next mission is a good fit for talking about that. If it isn't, I'll figure out what is it a good fit for, and that's what we'll work on. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it'll help you become a better player. I hope you'll like, comment, and subscribe, and join us for our next Railway Empire video. Thank you.